whenever you're ready.
So we're going to focus on the body, and each different area of the body basically plays a different role in how the voice is projected. So it's like how arms, legs and spine are like the key places for like a sprinter, for example, if they're going to go running. Then obviously athletes need to warm up, and that's basically the exact same with your voice. So I'm going to go through all of the human body parts and how it all works together to just make good voice projection and production, and different like ways to warm up with examples, and obviously advice on just how to protect your voice, avoid straining, overtension, and how to keep your vocals good. So in order to have a strong voice, your body must first have a strong posture. But you have to keep in mind that obviously a strong posture doesn't mean that you're tense, so you're not like stressed or like that. You have to still be relaxed, but just like make sure you're not dead floppy. And it needs to be relaxed basically to allow the diaphragm and the lungs to expand and the rib cage and all of that. Because if they're very tense, then you're just gonna sound like you're really, really strained. So the first area of the body, which obviously is a really key one because it makes us tall and allows us to have posture in the first place, is the spine. And obviously with that there's the head and neck, which is basically just attached to it. So So first we look at like the posture and position of the areas. So to get into position, stand neutral and tall, and make sure that nothing's like tense. Like shake a little bit, then just stand as tall as you feel like you can without, obviously keep the S shape in your spine. The spine should be as tall as you can get it, but obviously remember to keep the S shape. Chin should be up slightly, but not too much. And from the lower in the middle of the spine, you can now work up towards the neck. So the neck should be stood like tall, but obviously don't make it look straight ahead, but just keep your chin up, but still. So if you find like a focus point on the wall or something, that can like really help with that. The head should be upright, and that should be good. So the next is the shoulders, sternum and rib cage. And this is a really important area in voice production as it holds the main organs that go towards even having voice in the first place, which is the heart and the lungs, as well as also adding to the strong posture. So the shoulders again should be left neutral, circular, without any sort of slouch, so just shake helps. And sternum and rib cage, if you like take a breath in, then take a breath out, but don't force it out, just gently. That should like put the rib cage into a position. And obviously it's good to do this because this means that your rib cage can expand. So when you breathe in, it's not all like trapped and tense. Your lungs can like go to their full capacity. So the abdominal muscles and pelvic area, again, are obviously really, really important. So they hold the key muscles, obviously the stomach, because you want to like be able to move your body, and when you breathe in, you do want to be able to feel the muscles move. So make sure that if you just again breathe in and breathe out, let your stomach really relax here, and that should make sure, so if you talk, you don't have to talk. It should get rid of any tension. You'll just be able to hear that your voice is a lot smoother. The diaphragm is also in this area, so it's like in the centre, and this is really important to have this so that it can expand and then retract again, as this is obviously what really, really pushes your voice out. When breathing, rather than moving the ribcage and shoulders like that, you want to be able to focus on this muscular abdominal area of the body, because the diaphragm is going to be more important in this than like say your throat or something, because you don't want to like project your voice from your throat, it will sound more croaky. You're going to get a deeper and louder projection with a lot more clarity if you do it from your diaphragm. Next is the legs and knees, position. So keep the legs and knees in good posture, so stand as straight as you can. But the really hard part is you can't lock your knees. So it's quite hard. Just jiggle your legs a little bit. Just make sure that your knees are like as relaxed as you can get them, but your thighs and your calves need to stay very strong. So stand tall without overstretching, and also with this, let the feel from like your toes, and just feel your whole body and let it elongate your spine as well, but obviously try and relax. Next one. So the facial muscles. These are usually influenced by emotion, and obviously, just in general, if you are projecting your voice, whether you're singing or acting, you want to show emotion, and so it basically is like a win-win situation, because if you show more emotion, your face muscles will work and vice versa. So warming up and focusing on your facial muscles just allows it to all get going, and it allows the expression to be there. So obviously it's not just, you can talk more clear, it's also you're going to be showing emotion, and that just gives more effect to the audience anyway. So breathing is obviously a very key thing, because you don't want to lose your breath, you don't want to be really, really tense, you really just want to feel relaxed and let it all expand. So controlling your breath while singing and talking is vital, but it's key to not overthink this. So basically, if you're singing and you're thinking, oh, and now I need to take a breath, then you're going to get sidetracked, and then your diaphragm and all that will tense up more because anxiety and stuff like that. So allowing more breath in, along with the vocals, will get it all out. And make sure it's good to practice your breathing, like when you're singing, and time yourself. But obviously, when you're singing or talking, whatever you're doing, try not to think about it, just get used to how long your breaths are. So exercise is just like, as I said, as an athlete needs to warm up, you need to warm up to get a good voice. So obviously this doesn't just include warming up just before you do it. It's like you're supposed to drink water, stay hydrated. You don't do that just on the day that you're going to project your voice. You need to keep your health and well-being good in general anyway, because obviously you want the moisture and fitness to just come from within. You don't want to just make it on the spot. So what's best to do is stretches such as yoga, even meditation. Don't just physically warm up, it's good to mentally warm up, and a lot of actors do this. They'll sit there, they'll pace their breathing, and they'll just really get into the right mind for it. And then yoga is obviously really good, because you do want to be able to feel as tall as you can and elongated, and yoga is obviously really going to do this. Vocal warm-ups include singing, humming, stuff like that. It depends what works for you really. And this doesn't just help you to warm it up and get a good sounding voice, but it also helps to maintain the voice for longer. Obviously stay hydrated, only water. If you drink drinks such as caffeine, it can dry you out. Obviously it's very dehydrating. And again, as I said, don't just drink water on the day of what you're doing. You want to stay hydrated throughout, just your life in general, because you really want the moisture to come within. That means that it won't run out and you won't have to top up. Avoid foods that are too dry, salty or spicy, as again the same issue, dehydration, irritation is going to cause you naturally, without even thinking, your throat and diaphragm, all of that will just tense up if they feel some sort of irritation. And all food and drink, it's best to aim it to be room temperature, because this means the body takes less effort to break it down and stuff like that. And also a drink or food being too hot or too cold causes strain and pressure on the throat. So now that the physical aspects are finished with, you need to focus on your actual voice and sound. Next slide please. So what I mean by the placement of sound is where you are focusing on getting the sound from. So obviously you really do not want to, for example, people say don't sing with your throat, sing with your diaphragm, and the same with just acting, projecting voice in general. You really want to, if you're talking from your throat, you're going to hear it's got croakiness to it, it's not going very far. If you're doing it from your diaphragm, genuinely, when you are talking, acting, singing, whatever it may be, focus on feeling your diaphragm move. It should almost feel like you're kind of doing a crunch, but obviously not as intense, and that's how you know that that's working out. And when doing this, obviously keep on breathing. That's the main thing. You need to practice it just when you're at home, whatever, because this will keep you in pace. And articulation is all about the formation of clear and distinct sounds in speech, which is basically again your vowels and consonants. And because basically what's really, really important about these is they can change your whole entire tone. Say, if you say butter, it sounds like you just can tell a different tone, rather than whether you say butter. It's not just presenting a different tone, different sound, it's also presenting a different emotion. and obviously emotions and clarity of your voice are kind of linked into the same thing. That's it. It's just so. That's it.